Hey, it's Sasha Evdokov, and welcome to TRADERSFLY.com, where I share with you some insight and information about trading, the stock market, and investing. Now, in this video, I'd like to share with you the concept about why is it that 90% of traders fail or only 10% are really successful. Now, I have already done a video of this topic and concept earlier or before, and if you want to visit that video, you can go ahead and click this link right here. Now, that video focuses more on specific techniques and tactics that are actually applied in the stock market. But I want to zoom in a little bit and focus on psychology and focus on just your own personal self rather than specific stock market techniques, which is what happens in this video. And the reason I want to cover this topic is because I get so many emails, questions, comments, and just personal messages asking about, hey, how is it that I can become successful or you can become successful if so many other people are not successful? Well, I want to break this down into that human psychology factor. And if we dig deeper into our own personal self or personal history, think about it when you were playing sports as a little kid or doing any kind of activity. Now, typically what happens when you're younger, your parents will put you into maybe, let's say, soccer camp, or you go and play soccer for a year. After playing soccer for a couple of years, you go ahead and hop and jump maybe into baseball. It could be martial arts, but it's a new activity and maybe you don't do soccer anymore. And then a few more years later goes by and you might do a third activity. So probably typically in your life as well, you've probably done or have been through multiple activities, and it's a process. It's a process that you jump from one thing to the next until you finally find something that works for you for a longer period of time. Now, if we connect this concept of hopping from one thing to the next into trading, people typically do the same thing when it comes to trading. They will jump into trading stocks. Then they may jump into trading options. Without really being really good at trading stocks, they'll get into options. Then from options, they may trade Forex because they weren't really good about that or they want to try something new. When in fact, they really never developed any one specialty. Now, if you compare this to, let's say, a professional athlete sticks to one specific sport. They really hone in and focus on that one specific sport and develop their skills and talents, and they continue playing it. Now, you don't typically see professional basketball players or hockey players jumping from sport to sport and then doing one sport one season, doing another sport another season, and doing a third sport maybe the next year after that. This is typically not the case. That's not their specialty. That's not their expertise. But this is what happens in the stock market. People give it a try, they hop out, they do something else, and then eventually they don't do it anymore. And if you add all those people up, then of course you're going to see that 90% fail, just like 90% of athletes fail. Or similar concept of why 90% of business owners fail as well. Now, I like using the concept of business owners as examples because it really ties in really well to the stock market. And I think a lot of people can relate to starting a business because you go ahead, open up shop, whether that's a lemonade stand, you go ahead, offer a product or service, collect the money, and you start generating revenue. But you're not making $1 million from the first time that you open up that table with that lemonade stand. It takes a little bit of time to grow that business and build it up. And what happens is when people are starting a business, they'll hop from one business or from one niche, then they'll jump to another niche because that first niche is not successful for them. Then they go ahead and repeat the same mistakes that they did in that first niche and go to a third niche. So for example, if you're starting with, let's say, a lemonade stand or producing fruit drinks, then you go ahead and jump to maybe lawn service, or then you go ahead and jump to fixing people's roofs, or you go ahead and remodel people's homes. So you're jumping from one business to the other, and it could be completely different category. It could be cleaning carpets, or it could be jumping into being a hairdresser. Nevertheless, you're hopping from niche to niche. So let's say you're opening up a beauty salon and you see that there's so many other beauty salons that are successful. However, your salon is not successful. Then that means there's something wrong with your business strategy. That means that there's something wrong with the way that you're handling your business, and that there's nothing really wrong with the niche or industry themselves. So let's just say, for example's sake, that you're opening up a lawn service business and you've been hopping from niche to niche because other niches have not been successful or profitable. And now you're opening up this lawn service business. However, you're not successful, you're not profitable, your business management isn't working out, and you're just not acquiring the customer. If there's other businesses, if there's other lawn service businesses that are successful and are making money, does that mean that that niche is bad? Does that mean that that niche isn't working out or is not profitable? No, it simply means that you just haven't figured out how to make business work. It just means that you haven't figured out how to properly market your business, how to properly get the exposure to your customers and continue to add value to your customers, so that way you can continue to make a profit and grow your business. And typically what happens is then that person, the business owner, is going to jump to the next niche because you're assuming or thinking that that lawn service business is not profitable. It's not a profitable niche, when in fact it's very profitable. You just haven't figured out the appropriate steps to make the business work. So typically what happens is all these business owners, millions upon millions of business owners, fail all the time. And more than 90% of business owners fail their first year, and over 95% fail within the first 5 years. Yet, we don't really discuss or talk about this as much as we do in the stock market. And that is because it's an emotional connection when you're dealing with money in the stock market, less so much in a business because you're putting in your time. Or there's that counter factor of, hey, it's your passion. It's your passion to go ahead and, cut people's hair and make them look beautiful. It's your passion to go ahead and create beautiful landscaping for homes. Or it's your passion to remodel a house. So this passion can skew the result or skew the perspective, thinking and saying that because it's my passion, it's okay that it failed. I'm going to go ahead into another niche because that niche was not profitable. And in fact, this is what happens with trading, is that people hop from one thing to the next. Whether that's first they get into day trading, then they get into swing trading, then they get into shorting, then it's options, then it's Forex, then it's futures, hoping to find that niche or that area that works for them, when in fact, they haven't really learned the fundamentals of how to make trading work for them. So as we start evaluating these types of people that are hopping around from one thing to the next, you'll notice that there's different tiers, but really in the end, it's people hopping around from one thing to the next. So you'll have the first main tier where there are people generally hopping around, generalist hopping. And those are similar to the ones trying out different sports when you're a little kid. So the same thing in the stock market. They will hop into the stock market just trying it out, hoping to make a quick buck. Then they may hop into real estate investing or real estate remodeling. Then they may hop into buying and selling cars. So they'll just generally hop around trying to do different things. Then you may have those mid-range hoppers who, try different things within the stock market, not really having a specialty. Now, as we continue going deeper and deeper into evaluating this, then you may have those people that are really focused but don't have the longevity to stick with it. Now, these are the people that I really try to pull for, because those people are the ones that have that potential to actually succeed. I want you to think back when you were getting a job, looking for a career, or actually making some money. So if you're making some money right now and you're in a job, and let's just say you're making 10, 20, 50,000, 75,000, whatever the number is, or if it's much higher, go ahead and think about that number. But if you're making some money and you've achieved a certain level in your life, whether you're making $20,000 a year or $100,000 a year, it took you some time to get there. Even if you're at the $20,000 level, you probably had to go through some sort of schooling or some high school and then get that kind of job. If you're making a little bit of a higher pay grade, you probably had to go through, again, some schooling, probably some job in high school, probably another job, maybe a position and another position. So it took you multiple years to get to that pay salary. You didn't automatically start with a $100,000 a year job. And even if you did, it still took you all that education and that time to get there. It's a building process that takes time to get there. And most people, what they do in the stock market, what they think about is they go ahead and jump into the stock market because really all you need is a trading platform and some capital, and then you can start trading. And they hope that they're going to be successful or just as successful making their $50,000, $100,000 a year in that first year. When in reality, it takes time to get there. Just like your education took time, just like your mentorship program took time if you're a doctor, just like your training, if you had your first job, took time. The same thing. And if you're building a business, it takes time to build your business to profitability. It may take some time to purchase equipment, to figure out and hire the right employees, to get those customers. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. It takes discipline. It takes focus. It takes doing the right actions, the right steps to get to those levels. And a lot of people, when they hop around, they don't put in that time, or they're not able to stick with it long enough to become successful. Now, for these people, the people that are really motivated, that stick with it for 1 or 2 years, they are right at that brink, and usually right at that brink where they are nearly successful, where they're starting to put puzzle pieces together and things are almost working out. Unfortunately, at that last moment or towards those end of those last moments, you're right at those edges, is where they go ahead and try something new and try something different. So if I was to really summarize this whole video and this whole lesson about how things play out and why do 90% of traders fail, or the 10% that do succeed, it's because of the ability to focus. It's because of the ability to stick with something and make adjustments to your plan. And if you treat this trading or investing like a business, it takes time to build. It takes time to build anything in this world. It takes time to grow anything in this world. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, focus, discipline. And if you have that stick-to-itiveness, if you have that discipline, then you're going to be able to be more on the higher probability of success rather than the less probability of success. However, if you're already making $50,000 a year, $100,000 a year from your job, and you're looking to take up trading, you really can't expect to be making $50,000 or $100,000 a year right from the start simply because you have some cash or capital. There's still a process that you have to go through in order to get your pace, in order to put in your time, in order to put in your education to learn about the business, to learn how business works in the market, to learn how investing works, so that way you're not hopping from one thing to the next and failing with each step. So your ability to stick with it and the ability to grow over time will allow you to go into trading options in the future, will allow you to do different trades, to do higher risk trades in the future, but you don't start it at the beginning. It's a step-by-step process moving up with time. All right, I hope you found this video a little bit more insightful about the psychology of why only about 10% of traders actually succeed. And this is really just about human behavior, and really most people only succeed 10% of the time in whatever thing that they do, because we do different things to get to where we are. So you might have tried out your own different sports, you might have tried out other different businesses, you might have went through different classes in school, and some you liked better or succeeded better in, and others you just didn't do as well. And that's the nature of everything we do in this world. So thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed this video lesson, you want to see some more other great lessons about trading or investing, you can visit my website at TRADERSFLY.com or click this link right here. And when you get there, you can enter your name and email address and be added to the newsletter list and get some free in-depth video training lessons that aren't even released on YouTube. Now, if you want to go ahead and see some of the other videos I have on YouTube and just some of the other lessons and just hang out on YouTube, then you can click some of the thumbnails right below this video and we'll continue learning together. Thanks again, and remember to do what you love, contribute to others, but most importantly, live life abundantly.